Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel She Sews Happiness. If you're a subscriber and you've been here before, then you need no introduction. If you're brand new here and you've come across my page looking either at like the subject title or just out of curiosity itself or by accident, I'm Mary Ellen, and this is basically where I share everything sewing related with you. So I have now been sewing for 3 years. I was one of those many who took up sewing as a hobby during the lockdown when the pandemic hit. And over the last 3 years, I have tried hard to learn as much as I possibly can. It's just the way I am. I am kind of programmed to learn. And I was looking into doing another postgraduate course just before lockdown. And having 5 degrees already, I kind of talked myself out of it, but I really wanted something to learn, something that I could stick my teeth into, and sewing was it. And that's why I have got here something new for my sewing space, because I kind of warrant it, I think, now. So I have, if you saw my last video, you'll know I have recently acquired a Janome CoverPro 2000 CPX. And yeah, I've wanted a cover stitch now for a little while, for at least a year or so. And lots of people have told me that they still don't have one and they've been sewing 20 years. And others have told me that it took them about 10 years to decide to invest in one of these. And I can totally understand why. It is by no means a necessity. It's not an essential piece of kit in your sewing space. But if you sew with knit fabrics and you like sewing with stretchy fabrics, it's not something that's going to hurt. It basically is going to give me 2 benefits. It's going to make my knit garments look just that little bit more professional. I'll be honest, I hate the faff of using a twin needle. So if I have this set up ready to go all the time, I won't have to play around with my sewing machine to make it knit friendly. But also, I discovered recently with a 4-month baby in the house that necklines and things get pulled and stretched, and yeah, I've discovered a couple of stitches have got broken as well. And one of the benefits of having a cover stitch machine is that you can finish your garments and they will last that little bit longer, or a lot longer, basically, because there's so much stretch built in that even when you pull on them, they're not going to snap, like a couple of things have done with me recently. So I thought while I was unboxing it, because I have no idea actually what's in it, what comes with it and whatnot, that I would do that with you guys, and then I'll go and have a play with it, see how it works, see if I can work it, and then come back and basically share my ideas, my thoughts really on the machine, and whether or not I do think it was a worthwhile investment. Now, I didn't even buy it for myself. It was a gift, so I can't really say I wasted any money, but I'd hate to think Simon had wasted money. And I don't think he has, because I read a few reviews about the machine before I bought it, or before I chose it for him to buy. And yeah, pretty much everybody who has it is quite happy with it. It's notably a 4-thread cover stitch, which is what I wanted, because it has the ability of sewing with 3 needles, which is even more strength built into your hems and things. So I thought, well, if I'm getting one, I might as well get one that is capable of using 3 needles rather than just 2. And the reason I actually went for this is because in terms of price, it's probably the most reasonable one out there. Cover stitch machines, I discovered, are incredibly expensive. I'm not saying it's cheap. I mean, I think it's about £600. But compared to some others, which are twice and more, this was much more economical one to choose. Yeah, and I think, I don't know that much about it yet, but I think it has a good variety of stitches. I'll get quite a lot of use out of it. A couple of people now have recommended that I do a course. There is a course that you can do with the Sewing Sisters. I think that's the one, but I'll link it in below when I find it. And I think the model that they're actually using, because I did a quick Google search, the model they're using when they're teaching you all about this machine is actually this one. So it's not like I'd be learning about some other cover stitch machine. It's actually this model that they're using, which is great. So I'll probably sign up for that. I mean, I think it's £20, so like, why would I not? And yeah, I'll sit and go through that maybe some evening this week before I really start using it. But yeah, I'll get it broke open and we can have a little bit of a look at it. So get a pair of scissors, and don't worry, these are not fabric cutting scissors. In fact, they were fabric cutting scissors whenever I first started sewing, when I had no idea that this would become a compulsion, more of a way of life than a hobby. And it is worth noting that when Simon purchased this, he bought it from Sew Essential, and it came super fast. It actually came by courier the next day. I'm just gonna have to go around and open it up, and so much packaging, which you don't need to see. Okay, so here it is, beautiful and shiny. It actually has such a large working space, so I wasn't expecting that. You can probably just see there, that's quite a large space to be working on. And yeah, in the photos it looked big, but yeah, it goes back a long way. And I think there's a little free arm on there as well, which I'm not going to pull until I've actually read the manual. But yeah, the machine itself is beautiful. You can see here it has actually come pre-threaded, which will be good for me to familiarise myself. It means I can switch it on in a few minutes, try it out and see how we go. I have my pedal and my power cable in there. It also comes with a dust cover, which is great, and I have to say I'm guilty of not really using such things. And in here then I have my user manual, and in the past I have been guilty of never looking at these at all, which is probably why it took me a little while to get used to my overlocker at the start. But I will actually go through my instruction book, and then there's a little box here as well. So let's just see what's inside the box, what tools I need. Okay, so the first thing I see then are the little stoppers to pop on top of my threads to keep them in place, and there's 4 of those, as you would expect. There's also little nets for the cones. So I have here these little nets which will keep the thread from getting stuck and help it to flow nice and easily, and it doesn't unravel. They have also included overlock needles, so there's 5 in here, and it's already set up with 3 as well. So it's the Schmetz needles, which I do use on my other machines too. Okay, this is the part that I don't like. Screwdriver, mini screwdriver. I have to admit, I had my overlocker for like 1.5 years before I dared to take the screwdriver and change the needles. Those needles were abused, and even when it came to the point of having to get the screwdriver out, I got Simon to do it, because I'm a coward when it comes to things like that, in case I break something. And I've never changed the blade, but thankfully my blade still seems to be pretty sharp. But I know the day's coming when the blade will also need changed on my overlocker. But less of that. What else do I have in here? Handy little brush, always necessary. Oh, I have also got a threader, although I just do that by eye. I never really use those for anything. I don't use the automatic threader even on my sewing machine. I don't know why. I think it was just because for the first year of sewing I was used to manually threading my machine. I started off with a Singer Fashion Mate before I upgraded to the Singer Quantum Stylist, and that little Fashion Mate was a workhorse. And if you are quite new to sewing, maybe you haven't even bought a machine yet, I would definitely recommend that. I got through the first year And I think actually the more basic your machine is, the more you learn about sewing itself. Whereas if you have a machine that does it all for you, that automatically gauges the tension and things, you're not learning an awful lot. So I learned quite a bit on my starter machine. And then of course I have my tweezers, which are great for threading and things as well. And then the other thing I have are two little knobs. I dread to think what I would need those for. I guess when I read the instruction manual, I'll find that out. But this actually is so smooth. I'm just looking inside the machine itself. I know you can't see it very clearly, but I'll try to film it when I actually get used to it. I'll show you actually the inside of it and things too. But there are instructions in here as to how to thread, so hopefully it is all self-explanatory. It's got the 3 needles in it at the moment, which is nice. I think it's meant to have like a little cutter as well, so there's a little cutter here for the threads. Yeah, otherwise I've got 3 instead of 4 tension gauges here for my threads, and then the other is over here rather than all 4 together, and this is for the looper obviously, and then of course it's got the soft and tight tension. Now when I was reading up about this machine, I discovered that there was actually a Cover Pro 1000 CPX as well, although they had been encountering some issues with tension and with like slipping stitches and things. So I believe when they created this model they resolved all of those little niggles. But once I have a little play, I will share my thoughts and let you know if I think that has been fixed. Because it couldn't possibly be my fault if something goes wrong. So yeah, I'm going to go and plug her in. I've got about 10-15 minutes. I had dinner cooking in the oven and I have 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll just have a wee practice, and then hopefully tomorrow or the day after I'll be able to come back and let you know how I actually have found stitching on it. But yeah, it's so pretty and not dusty at all. The others haven't been used in a few days and I can see the dust, so maybe that's what I should do first, is just clean the other 2 machines so they look just as pretty as this one. But yeah, I'm loving it. I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, it'll take a little bit of getting used to. I'm surprised the size of it. It is bigger than my Singer Overlocker, and it is just that the workspace here is quite impressive, which will be brilliant when I'm doing hems on circle skirts and things too, because you need a little bit more room just to work. Yeah, I'll go familiarise myself and see how we get on, but it can't be that difficult. It can't be that difficult. Nothing's that difficult, it just requires practice. So I will be back. Take care. Thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, especially if you're interested in knowing how I get on with this machine. And yeah, that's it really. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye.